Ladies and gentlemen, imagine waking up every day with the weight of uncertainty pressing down on you. The plans you've made, the goals you've set, the challenges you're facing, everything feels like a never-ending battle to control outcomes. We push, we strive, we fight to make things happen exactly as we want them to. And yet, so often, despite all our efforts, things don't go the way we planned. And in those moments, we feel frustrated, anxious, maybe even lost. But what if we let go? What if instead of holding on so tightly, we chose to release the need to control everything? What if we placed our trust in something greater than ourselves? What if instead of constantly trying to force the pieces to fit, we stepped back and allowed them to fall into place? It's uncomfortable because we're wired to believe that success is entirely up to us, that every detail must be managed, every outcome controlled. But the truth is, there's something powerful about surrender. Not surrender in the sense of giving up, but surrender in the sense of trust. Trust that even when things don't go our way, they are still going the right way. Trust that every setback is preparing us for something greater. Trust that the doors that close are guiding us to the ones that are meant to open. Some of the greatest stories of triumph don't come from people who forced their way to the top. They come from those who walked forward in faith, who kept showing up, who did their part but left the rest in the hands of something bigger than themselves. And in that trust, they found peace, they found clarity, they found that the right opportunities came, not because they chased them down, but because they allowed them to unfold. So what happens when we truly let go? When we do our best but leave the outcome in God's hands? We free ourselves from unnecessary worry. We move forward with courage instead of fear. We stop trying to force things to happen and start allowing things to happen. And in that space of trust, we begin to see that what's meant for us will always find us, maybe not in the way we expected, but always in the way we need.
Fear is loud. It creeps into our thoughts, whispering worst-case scenarios and filling us with doubt. It tells us to hesitate, to question, to assume the worst before the best even has a chance. It thrives on uncertainty, feeding the belief that we are not capable, not ready, not enough. And because fear is so persistent, so convincing, we often listen. We hold back, we second guess, we stay in places that feel safe rather than stepping into the unknown. But faith speaks too. It doesn't shout like fear does. It doesn't demand attention. It's a quiet but steady voice reminding us that we are not alone, that we are stronger than we think, that there is a purpose to the path we are walking. Faith tells us to trust, to keep going even when we don't see the whole picture, to believe that what's ahead is greater than what we leave behind. Where fear paralyzes, faith moves us forward. Where fear tells us to hold back, faith tells us to take the next step. Fear makes us believe we have to see the entire plan before we can take action. Faith asks us to move, even when we don't have all the answers. It teaches us that we don't have to know exactly how things will work out to trust that they will. It shifts our focus from what could go wrong to what could go right. It reminds us that closed doors are not failures but redirections, that delays are not denials but preparation, that even in the waiting, something good is unfolding. Every great journey requires faith. The people who accomplish the most, the ones who inspire, who break barriers, who change lives, are not those who were fearless, but those who chose faith despite their fear. They stepped out before they had proof. They moved forward without guarantees. They trusted that the road would appear even when they couldn't see it. And that is the choice we all face, whether to let fear control us or to walk in faith, knowing that what's ahead is always greater than what we leave behind. We've all faced moments where something we wanted slipped through our fingers, a job we didn't get, a relationship that didn't work out, an opportunity that seemed perfect but never materialized. In those moments, it's easy to feel disappointed, frustrated, even lost. We question what went wrong, replaying scenarios in our minds, convincing ourselves that if we had done something differently, the outcome would have changed. But what if the closed door wasn't rejection? What if it was protection? What if it was a redirection towards something better? Life has a way of guiding us, even when we don't realize it. We may think we know exactly what we need, but there is a greater plan at work, one that sees beyond the present moment. A closed door isn't the end of the road. It's simply a sign that we're meant to take a different path. It's an invitation to trust, to shift our perspective, and to remain open to what's ahead rather than fixating on what's behind. Looking back, some of the biggest blessings often come from what didn't happen. The job that fell through made space for a better one. The relationship that ended led to personal growth and someone more aligned with the future. The opportunity that was lost cleared the way for something even greater. What once felt like disappointment later reveals itself as divine intervention.
It's human nature to hold on to what's familiar, to chase what we think we want. But when a door closes, it's not meant to discourage us, it's meant to redirect us. It's a reminder that the things meant for us won't require us to force them open. Instead of focusing on what didn't work out, we can trust that something even better is waiting, and when the right door opens, it won't just fit, it will feel like it was always meant to be. We are taught from an early age that effort is the key to success. Work hard, stay disciplined, push through obstacles, and eventually the results will come. And while effort is essential, there's another side to the equation that often gets overlooked: trust. Because no matter how much effort we put in, there will always be factors beyond our control. Timing, circumstances, and unseen opportunities all play a role in shaping the outcome. Effort alone doesn't guarantee success. Effort combined with trust does. Trust doesn't mean sitting back and waiting for things to happen. It means showing up, giving our best, and then releasing the outcome. It means understanding that not everything will happen on our timeline, but that doesn't mean it won't happen. Sometimes the doors we knock on don't open because we're meant for something bigger. Sometimes the setbacks we face aren't roadblocks, but preparation. Sometimes the waiting isn't a delay, but a season of growth. When we place all our energy into controlling every detail, we create stress, frustration, and anxiety. We try to force results, manipulate outcomes, and rush what's meant to unfold naturally. But when we balance effort with trust, we move with confidence instead of desperation. We take action, but we also leave room for things to align in ways we never expected. The most successful people aren't just the hardest workers, they are also the ones who trust the process. They understand that their job is to do the work, to keep learning, to stay persistent, but not to obsess over every outcome. They trust that when they do their part, life will meet them halfway. And when we embrace that mindset, we free ourselves from unnecessary pressure. We move forward with a sense of peace, knowing that our effort matters, but so does the faith that what's meant for us will never miss us. We live in a world that tells us everything should happen now. Instant success, immediate results, quick fixes. We're conditioned to believe that if something isn't happening on our timeline, then it's not happening at all. But life doesn't work that way. The things that truly matter, the right opportunities, the right relationships, the right breakthroughs, they come when we're ready for them, not just when we want them. There's a reason why certain doors don't open right away. Sometimes we need more growth before stepping into what's meant for us. Sometimes the timing isn't right because something better is being prepared. And sometimes what we think we want isn't actually what we need. It's easy to get frustrated when things take longer than expected, but delays are not denials. They are often a form of protection, a way of keeping us from stepping into something too soon or settling for something less than what we deserve. Patience is difficult when we're working hard and seeing little progress, when we feel like we're doing everything right but nothing is moving forward. But just because we can't see movement doesn't mean nothing is happening. Growth is often unseen, preparation happens in the waiting. What feels like a standstill is often the very season that is shaping us for what's next. And then suddenly things start to align, the opportunity appears at the perfect moment, the right person enters our life when we least expect it, the thing we've been waiting for finally falls into place. And in hindsight, we realize that had it happened any sooner, we wouldn't have been ready. The right things are never rushed. They don't require force or desperation. They come with ease, with clarity, and with the undeniable feeling that everything has happened exactly as it was meant to. Setbacks feel like failure. They knock us down, shake our confidence, and make us question whether we're on the right path. When things don't go as planned, it's easy to believe we've taken a step backward, that we've lost time, that all our effort was wasted. But what if the setback wasn't the end of the story? What if it was actually preparing us for something greater? Growth rarely happens in comfort. It happens in the moments when we're challenged, stretched, and pushed beyond what we thought we could handle. The struggles we face force us to adapt, to rethink, to develop resilience. Every setback carries a lesson. Sometimes it teaches us patience. Sometimes it redirects us towards something better. And sometimes it strengthens us in ways we don't even realize until later. Some of the most successful people didn't rise to the top without setbacks. They failed, they lost, they had doors slammed in their faces. But instead of giving up, they used those moments to grow. They refined their skills, learned from their mistakes, and built the kind of character that only comes from struggle. What seemed like a loss at the time was actually a setup for something bigger. Perspective changes everything. When we see setbacks as setups, we stop looking at them as obstacles and start viewing them as opportunities. We stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this teaching me? Instead of resisting challenges, we embrace them as part of the process. Because every setback is not a step back, it's a push forward in disguise. And when we finally reach the next level, we'll look back and realize that the struggles weren't detours, they were the path all along. We spend so much of our lives chasing peace, believing it comes from having everything figured out, from eliminating uncertainty, from making sure everything goes exactly as planned. But the harder we try to control every detail, the more restless we become. The more we resist uncertainty, the more anxious we feel. True inner peace doesn't come from having all the answers. It comes from surrendering the need to have them in the first place. Surrender is not about giving up. It's about letting go of the illusion that we are in control of everything. It's about understanding that no matter how much we plan, there will always be things beyond our reach. It's choosing to trust rather than worry, to release rather than resist. The more we hold on to the belief that we must control every outcome, the more we burden ourselves with stress and fear. But the moment we surrender, we create space for clarity, for stillness, for peace. There is freedom in realizing that we don't have to figure everything out on our own, that we don't have to have every step mapped out to move forward, that even in uncertainty, we are being guided. Life has a way of unfolding exactly as it should, even when we don't understand it in the moment. And when we stop forcing, stop chasing, stop clinging to what we think should happen, we allow what is meant to happen to find us. Peace is not something we earn by working harder or worrying more. It's something we step into when we surrender the need to control. It's in the trust that what is meant for us will come, that we are exactly where we need to be, and that we are being led even when we can't see the full picture. And in that surrender, we find the calm we've been searching for all along. We often get caught up in the idea that we have to know every step before we begin, that we need absolute certainty before taking action. We hesitate, waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, the perfect conditions. But the truth is, perfection never comes. There will always be unknowns, always be risks, always be things we can't predict. Our role is not to have it all figured out. Our role is to show up. Showing up means taking the first step even when we don't see the whole path. It means putting in the work even when the results aren't immediate. It means staying consistent even when progress feels slow. Too often we let fear of failure or the need for control hold us back. But growth, success, and transformation don't come from waiting for the right time. They come from showing up every day and trusting that each small step is leading somewhere meaningful. The people who make an impact in the world aren't necessarily the most talented, the most knowledgeable, or the most prepared. They are the ones who choose to show up when it would be easier to quit. The ones who try even when they're unsure. The ones who keep going even when they don't see immediate progress. Every great accomplishment, every breakthrough, every success story begins with someone who made the decision to keep showing up. Life rewards those who are willing to take action, to be present, to step forward even when things feel uncertain. It's not about having all the answers. It's about having the courage to keep moving. Because when we show up, consistently, wholeheartedly, with faith, we put ourselves in the position to receive, to grow, and to experience the opportunities that were meant for us all along. The way we see the world is shaped by what we choose to believe. When we operate from a place of fear, we see obstacles instead of opportunities, delays instead of direction, setbacks instead of setups. But when we choose to trust in the process, in the timing, in the greater plan, we begin to see everything differently. Trust transforms perspective. It shifts our focus from what's going wrong to what's unfolding. It allows us to find meaning in the challenges and peace in the unknown. Without trust, Every uncertainty feels like a threat. We try to control, to force, to resist, anything that doesn't go according to our plans. But trust removes the weight of that struggle. It reminds us that not every no is rejection, not every failure is final, and not every unanswered question means we're lost. Sometimes the delays are protection. Sometimes the things we think we need would actually hold us back. Sometimes the path we never planned for leads to the destination we were always meant for. Trust doesn't mean we stop taking action. It means we do what we can and let go of the need to manipulate the outcome. It means we move forward with confidence instead of desperation, knowing that what is meant for us will come in its own time. It means we stop seeing challenges as roadblocks and start viewing them as part of the journey. When we trust, we see life through a different lens. Instead of frustration, we find patience. Instead of fear, we find faith. Instead of doubt, we find the belief that everything is working together for our good. And in that shift, we gain something far greater than control. We gain peace, clarity, and the ability to move forward without fear. In the end, life is not about controlling every outcome, avoiding every setback, or forcing things to happen on our timeline. It's about showing up, giving our best, and trusting that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. Closed doors are not the end of the road, they are redirections. Setbacks are not failures, they are setups for growth. The right things come at the right time, and inner peace is found not in control but in surrender. When we shift from fear to faith, from resistance to trust, we see the bigger picture. We stop seeing delays as denials and start recognizing them as preparation. We stop chasing and start receiving. We stop holding on so tightly and start allowing life to unfold in ways greater than we imagined. Effort matters, but so does trust. Our role is not to have all the answers. It is to show up, to take the next step, and to believe that what is meant for us will never miss us. When we embrace this perspective, we move through life with confidence, with peace, and with the certainty that everything we need will come exactly when it's supposed to.